Hi everybody, Deb Buck here, where I'm coaching autistic kids and their grown-ups to improve every day. Today we're talking about level 2 ASD, or autism spectrum disorder. Do you have someone at that level and you're not sure exactly what that means or how to help? Well, let's talk about that. But before we begin, I want to remind you that you should subscribe because this is a great channel to get lots of information on autism. And if you subscribe, you'll be aware of every time that we're adding new videos. And we're going to be doing level 3 next week. Also, be sure and click on that bell because you want to get every notification so you don't miss anything. And be sure to like. Also, you're going to want to be sure to check out the description box because in there I have the link to the sensory quiz that you're going to love taking. And it's going to give you results in the areas of meltdowns or in communication and behavior. And with that comes a free download, and it's called Why Does My Child Have Meltdowns? So you're going to want to take that quiz. Also, I'm offering a 15-minute discovery call. That just means that you call me on a Zoom call, and we get together, you ask your question, and I answer it the very best that I can. Now, I ask you if you had someone on level 2. Well, I have a granddaughter who's at level 2 on the ASD. And she is just amazing. And she has so much to offer. She is the most loving, non-judgmental person I've ever met in my life. She's just wonderful. But I have things that I can compare to level 2 that she does. And you'll see how that works. Kids diagnosed with this level need more support than they do on level 1. Now, if you saw my level 1 video, you know that I'm very adamant that people on the level 1 spectrum disorder still need supports. It's very important that they have supports. But people on level 2 are going to need more supports. It's because they have more difficulty with like communication skills. Their sentences are simpler, or they may be nonverbal. And I want you to stay to the end because I'll talk about academics when I get there. But in the meantime, we were talking about the communication, and the communication is like Gwen is a non-stop talker. We have very long conversations, but they're not always back and forth conversations. She asked a lot of questions because she was taught how to ask questions in speech therapy when she was young, but she's taken that to the max. And she never asks a question she doesn't already know the answer to. So it's that kind of conversation. It's not a conversation about what her day was like. Also, you'll find that kids that will have more difficulty with reading social cues because Gwen may not notice when somebody is done having a conversation about Full House. So she may follow you if you walk off to do something else and continue to talk until you make it very clear to her that the conversation is over. And then you might have to do that more than once. And they do tend to have more narrow interests. Gwen loves Full House. She's had many different things before that she loved, and there'll be more things in the future that she'll love. But they have more narrow interests and not as involved in the wide world of school or home or whatever it is. Also, you'll notice that the body language is different. Gwen is very expressive with her hands. I think it's what I need to say is that you'll see that there's something different. And when I was having a conversation with a lady, I had Gwen with me, and Gwen walked up to her and said, "I'm special needs." And the woman turned to her and said, "Yes, I know." And I didn't know exactly how to deal with that, but I just let the two of them deal with their conversation, and then we went on. But, it was evident to her by Gwen's speech patterns and by her gestures and body language that there was something different. And different doesn't mean bad. It just means different. It's a different way of processing. And so she processes differently than other kids, maybe her age, and you work with her where she is just like you do anyone else where they are. Now, other common characteristics include inflexible behavior or rituals. And these rituals or inflexible behaviors are a part of who they are. We don't want to take that away. That is as much them as there are things that we do that are neurotypical, that are a part of us. And so we don't want to change who they are, but we have to help them learn how to work within the framework of their environment, whether it's at home or at school. They often have difficulty changing focus or action. I've seen many kids who could not go on until they had finished the page that they were working on. Even though the rest of the class moved on, they really have to finish. And if you stop them from that, they certainly will not be noticing what's going on in the class, because they will be continuing to think about what it was that they wanted to finish, if there's not a meltdown. All of this kind of goes together in the sense that it's all difficulty coping with change. So things need to be predictable for kids at level 2. They need to know what's going to happen next. And when something happens, like a change in a schedule at school, something happens fourth period that doesn't normally, or they're taking pictures in the gym so there's no PE, those are the kind of things that can cause a major meltdown. The same thing can happen at home too. If you change the furniture during the day, when they get home, expect to have a reaction. Also, there are restrictive or repetitive behaviors that interfere with functioning. And those are the kind of things, for some kids, it's like the flapping. For some kids, it's a speech pattern. For other kids, they may ask the same question over and over and over again. And they have a reason for doing that, but they have a need to do that. They have a neurological need to do that. And so that's, again, one of those things that we support them in, and we help learn how to self-regulate. That's what I wanted to say. Help self-regulate in those areas. Now, I told you at the end I'd be talking about academics, so I want to give you this information. If they're in school or even at home, maybe it's eating or doing something in their room, they're going to need supports. They're going to have direct instruction in terms of how to do some things that other people may just be able to catch up on by just watching. So they're going to need supports. You have to watch for what those things are. And I said here, they may process differently. They most likely process differently. That's the thing about autism, is almost all kids process differently than a neurotypical. The neurodiverse, which can also include like ADHD and anxiety, they tend to process differently, and so we have to meet them where they are. They have difficulty with reading comprehension. That's something I've found with Gwen, is that she is a great reader. She can read an adult book, and she's in high school, but when it comes to understanding what she's read, she can recite maybe a whole paragraph or a whole page to you, but if you ask her questions about what she recited, she's likely not going to be able to answer that question. The same thing is true with math. You're going to find that abstract math, like as simple as a word problem, could be an issue when they are able to do all kinds of calculations, all the concrete part of math, but when they have to apply that, then that becomes an issue and they need support there. And finally, you're going to find that many kids resist writing. There's not a specific reason that we know for that. There's a lot of speculation, and I'm not going to go into that because it's speculation. But I think you'll find that many kids really resist writing for a number of reasons, some of which may be sensory and some of which may be processing. So that's the overview of a level 2 ASD range. And so I want to remind you to subscribe to this channel, because there's going to be lots more information on autism, including level 3, which will be coming soon. And don't forget to click on that bell, because that bell will then give you the notifications when something new comes in. And give us a like if you liked it. And remember to go to that description box below this video so that you can get the links to the 15-minute call. You may have questions just from this. With that 15-minute discovery call, you can ask me questions directly about this video. So be sure you get the link for that. And then also the link for the quiz, because that's just fun. And it also has the freebie that goes with that in terms of the handout. I'm just going to ask you to leave a comment below if you like this video, or if you have experience with level 2. What is your experience with level 2? And do you find it similar to what we went over today? So till next time, remember to improve a little every day.